Well, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight is part of a new series that I have called 40 Days of Courage. And I'm currently writing this book as an encouragement to mums who are in that season. Everyone, I'm so glad you're here. Tonight is part of motherhood changes everything. It changes our identity, our priorities, our relationships, our confidence, our faith, our dreams, and often our sense of who we are. Somewhere along the way, many women begin to shrink, not because we're weak, but because we've spent so much time pouring ourselves out for everyone else. And I have a little person in my background right now. Hello, who's not meant to be in here, but maybe her dad will come grab her very, very shortly. But you know what? I just really believe that motherhood is not the end of who you are. It's not the burial ground for your dreams, your growth, your creativity, your leadership, your calling. In many ways, it's actually an invitation to become more of who God created you to be. Thank you, my sweetheart. This is real life, right? Like your kids run on your live Zoom call, no matter how well you planned it. Anyway, so the book is still in its early creation, but I wanted to bring you along on the journey as I write. Every week, I'm going to be sharing a chapter and kind of digging into the lessons behind it because my heart is to encourage women to rise again through this season of life. So, not through the pressure or the hustle, but through courage. Okay. Small, courageous steps back to the woman that God created you to be. And today's conversation is for the woman in a season of change. Maybe you're navigating motherhood, a move, a new dream, a side hustle, or simply a new version of yourself that you've never seen before. We're meant to be, but it still feels uncomfortable. And if that's you, I think tonight will resonate with you deeply. And so I just want to say hi to any of the mums in the in the live room. It's so great to have you here with us. Why don't you drop a little, why don't you drop in the chat what your season is? Give it a name, okay? Is it a waiting season? Is it a dreaming season? Is it a season of courage? You're having to use courage to go where you want to go, be who you want to be. Yeah, why don't you drop that in the chat and let us know that you're watching? And all my lights have just gone off, so let's turn them back on. Yeah, love to hear from you if you are watching with us. It's always great to have mamas here live. And of course, we do a Zoom call straight after this. So if you jump on my email list, then you can find out about the Zoom call. You get the link to jump in on that, and you can be part of what we do on the Zoom call as well. Okay, here we go. Let's jump in. Let me share with you the chapter that I have for us today. It starts like this. When I was 21, I moved from New Zealand to Beijing, China. It's not something everyone does to teach English. It was one of the best experiences of my life, but it was also one of the hardest. And one day, several months into arriving, I found myself crouched behind a ring of apartment buildings, trying to find the most private spot I could. Beijing has more than 15 million people, and privacy felt almost impossible to find. And you know what I did? I sat there and I cried my eyes out. I just wanted to be alone and to let out how I was feeling. I didn't need someone to comfort me in that moment. I didn't need people to try and help me feel better. I wanted to be there, but I just needed to work through the grief of leaving where I had been, the difficulty of the season that I was in. For some people, that might be quite strange that I was crying my eyes out when I chose to be there. But I think there's a lot of women who are in the same situation as me. You might have become a mother and you, it might not always be exactly the kind of life you imagined, right? Like it can be different and you can be homesick for a life that was before. And yeah, I was just homesick. So everything was different. The language was different, the food, the culture, the city. I was learning how to teach English, learning how to navigate a completely different place, trying to build relationships with people from very different backgrounds. And I was actually on a team of people, and even the dynamics on our team, like there was cultural stuff, they were all American, I was the Kiwi, but just the dynamics on our team were really challenging as well. And it was a really growing year. I was gonna say a really difficult year, but it actually grew me a lot, and I'm so grateful for it. And I felt like every part of life required effort in that season. I remember praying, God, this is so hard. I want to be here, but it's so hard. I miss my family, I miss my friends, everything's unfamiliar. I don't want to go home, but I give you all this and I trust that you're going to help me through it. And I can still remember that moment all these years later because it taught me something I didn't know then. You can be exactly where you're meant to be and still find it difficult. And you can be growing and grieving at the same time. And that was definitely my season. Growing and grieving. Anyone with me? Has anyone experienced that? I would love to hear from you. Okay, here's the seasons the mamas are in. Thank you so much for dropping some comments. You are in a season, Bronwyn, of courageous action. I love that. And if you are willing, Bron, you could just look Bron up on Facebook. But she's welcome to drop her link in there. You should go check out some of the posts Bron has been sharing. Rita is in a season of personal challenge. Cool. Sophie is in a season of new beginnings. And Rita says motherhood was so different to what it was before. What do you mean by that? Like I can make a guess, but what is that? What do you mean by that, Rita? Is that like our mother's kind of motherhood was different? I definitely think there is even more pressure now in some countries for both, well, in a lot of countries, for both men and women to work. I think there were more mums who didn't work when I was growing up. I'm 41, so it was a little while ago. Actually, the story I'm sharing today is a story of 20 years ago. Can you believe that? I'm 41 and I was 21 when this happened. So um, I still feel very young in some ways. And like I can go back to that moment and I don't think of myself as a young person, but 20 years has gone by. So, okay, so today's courage lesson is this. I think sometimes we assume if we're following God's leading and we're making the right choices or pursuing a dream that we're meant to pursue, it should feel good all the time. But growth really works that way. And even in the season that we're in, we knew that choosing to go overseas and start our life in this new country was going to be a challenge. But you just don't know the challenges that are about to come up. And that was definitely my experience. So we've had a lot of grieving and growing. I feel like I've just done what I did when I was 21, but I've done it with two children and a husband, and I've done it all again. And it's worth every second. I say that with cautiousness because some of the seconds have been hard, but it really is worth every second. Growth often feels uncomfortable because we're leaving behind the familiar version of ourselves and we're stepping into territory we've never walked in before. And the fear that can keep many people stuck isn't necessarily the fear of failure, it's actually the fear of discomfort. And there's definitely a lot of discomfort. I remember we were standing in the airport ready to leave New Zealand. All we were doing was checking in for our flight. And I'm standing in this stink ass long queue with all our bags, with our two kids. All our family are watching us behind because they were so kind to come to the airport. And I was like, why is it so hard to stand in a line with two toddlers? And then that same day, we had to go through security. And that was very, very difficult as well. One's going this direction, one's going that direction. You can't keep them in the pram, right? They've got to come out of the pram or out of the harness that you have them in. And they've got to walk through the thing. You've got to unpack all your stuff and get all your computers out. And has anyone else traveled with toddlers? It is an incredibly life testing. Security with toddlers is crazy. Okay, so I'm just circling back to what Rita said. Okay, so she's actually talking about it was a challenge to become a mum, and her life is so different to her life before kids. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rita, for sharing that. So anyway, back to back to the story. I don't think that many of us like to feel uncertain. We don't like to feel inexperienced. We don't like feeling vulnerable. We don't like not knowing what we're doing, right? And courage isn't the absence of all those feelings. Courage is staying anyway. Courage is taking the next step anyway. Courage is trusting that who you're becoming is worth the discomfort of getting there. And one of my favorite lessons from that season in China is that I didn't need to be fearless. I simply needed to stay open to growth. And yeah, I have to be honest, it was a lot easier. I think it was easier at 21. Maybe it wasn't. I think there were aspects of it that were a lot easier. I think I had less expectation on the world, and maybe I have more now. But I do have more experience of things working out. So when seasons are tough here, or moving around, or just like little things that you need to get done don't work, I definitely have a larger reservoir of success stories to allow my brain to go back to. I think that motherhood teaches us this lesson over and over again. Motherhood constantly places you in unfamiliar territory. You've just figured out one stage and your child moves on to another. Just when you've adjusted to one version of yourself, life asks you to become someone new again. And many mums spend years trying to get back to who they used to be. And I know that feeling, get back to the weight you used to be, get back to the energy you used to have. But what if God isn't actually calling you backwards? He's calling you forwards. And when I came home from China 10 months later, I was not the same woman who had boarded the plane. I was stronger, more resilient, more confident in myself. I felt like 10 feet tall, to be honest with you. My faith had deeper roots. I trusted God differently because I had seen his faithfulness in ways I could never have if I'd stayed comfortable. And I think the same thing is true now, for us mums. Okay, the challenges you're facing today may be creating a future version of you that you cannot see yet. And that is super, super exciting. Like I cannot wait for you to see the future version of you. Imagine her for a second, the woman who started the side hustle, the woman who spoke up, the woman who leads, the woman who trusts herself again, the woman who follows God into places she'd never imagined. Those are versions of ourselves that are often born inside seasons that feel uncomfortable. I think it's a really powerful thing. And I'm only just learning, how do I imagine myself as this woman that I want to become? My apologies. This is the difference between a live call and a pre-recorded one. You would never see a sneeze in a pre-recorded call or someone drinking a glass of water. But do you know why I pre-record it, mums? I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't pre-record this. Sorry, I don't pre-record this because doing it live keeps me accountable. And also because I used to have the mums come on live and we used to chat together. So it's kind of like just like a carrying on, a repetition of what we did. But also, I think it's just so much simpler to go live and have all the slightly less imperfections and have it done one and done. I don't have to edit it, in my season. There will come a time when I'm going to have a beautifully recorded video that is edited and snipped down. But in this season, this is what I want to show up and do. This is what I can give in this season. So yeah, that is me. Okay, we need some crowd interaction. So I want you guys to pop in the chat. What is the biggest challenge you have ever faced? The biggest challenge you have ever faced. Yeah, why don't you pop that in the chat and I'm going to come back to that soon. I've actually got some really cool reflection questions. Yeah, so as you're listening today, here's some questions that maybe you can listen back on. I'm going to share them with you and you might want to come back to this call to listen to them. But when have you chosen something hard because you knew it was worth the risk? So I can point to my life in China. I actually moved to Tokyo. That was a big move away from where my family lived. Getting married, like as much as you can be in love, I think there's always a piece of you that recognizes that getting married is a risk. Um, you see marriages fail all the time. You have experienced whatever you have experienced with your parents, whether they're still together or not. You've seen the ups and downs of that relationship. Um, like, so there must be things that you've chosen because you knew it was going to be worth the risk. And even if risks don't always pay off, there's always a lesson in it. So this is something you can ask yourself. When have you chosen something hard because you knew it was worth the risk? Okay, who did you become because of that season? What challenge are you currently facing that may actually be growing you? And is there something you've been considering lately that scares you a little bit? Maybe it's your business idea, maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a dream you've been quietly carried for years. Who might you become if you took that one step forward? Okay, here we go. Here's a courageous act from Rita. I'm waiting for some more, guys. I want to share these courageous acts. Having kids was a big, long journey to get them IVF and so hard once number one arrived too. Man, having kids is no joke. And like biologically, I found that like you just really want them. But like it like develops you so much, so many opportunities for growth. Okay, Sophie's sharing her ex-boyfriend dumped her. The Heavenly Father used that opportunity of herself to reflect and to change her life. It was the hardship that became a start point. Wow. Wow, that's amazing, Sophie. Well done. Okay, looking for some more challenges that you guys have faced, the hardest things you've ever faced, or the most courageous act that you've ever taken. I'm gonna wait for a minute because I think that there is one other coming very shortly. Bronwyn, I can feel you're writing. She's writing. Do you know all the mums are probably folding washing? They might even be wrangling a baby. They're doing what it takes, and you're showing up and you're coming to the call. So good work, mums. Okay, we'll come back if someone else has one other courageous act they want to share with us. We can't wait to hear it. Okay, this week. Okay. Yeah, Bron, getting married and having an instant family. 4 children instantly, right? And then you added another one. So that is crazy courageous. Okay, here we go. Here's our courageous challenge for the week. This week, I want to challenge you to intentionally choose one small discomfort that moves you towards growth. Maybe it's researching a business idea. Maybe it's posting something online. Maybe it's reaching out to someone. Maybe it's finally admitting what you really want. Do you know, I think one of the most courageous things you can do is create a dream poster. And most of us don't do it because we think that like, well, I know I didn't do it for a long time because it's a fun activity. And so I needed work. Like I shouldn't spend time on fun. And girls, how I did it was that I just used Canva and I used all the images, and doesn't matter if there's a watermark on them, you can still download it. No one's going to see the watermarks because it's a poster for you. And it's a great way to just like get a whole lot of pictures online. It's so difficult to get magazines now and cut things out, but hey, it's a new age. You can find a new way to do it. So yeah, finally admit what it is that you really want. I think is a very courageous act because so many of us have faced discouragement, disappointment, and those things really shut down our dreams. So I really want to encourage you. Maybe your courage challenge this week. Can you hear that beeping? That is my frequency machine with PEMF frequencies that has been running through my body as I've been chatting with you. It's amazing. I've been using it for about 3 weeks now. And I'm serious with you. I am honestly noticing a massive difference. So if you need more energy, I have some resources for you. Okay, so maybe the courage challenge this week is, dreaming about what you really, really want. Okay, I want you just to take one courageous step. Don't worry about changing your entire life, but tiny, courageous dreams that can change your life. So don't feel like you got to do a massive thing. Just do one thing. And man, it's exciting. So we're going to bring our call to a close. I'm going to check if there's any other courageous stories in our chat here. Sophie missed what we were saying because her baby was screaming, very appropriate. My baby came in at the beginning of the call. If you guys were here, I had my 2-year-old running through the room. Look, if today's conversation has stirred something in you and you've been feeling that quiet desire to grow again and discover what's possible in this season, I'd love to give you a guide that I've been working on. It's called 5 Ways to Get Started with a Side Hustle. It's a resource I've created from my own years of learning, trial, error, and building my own journey. It's not so much about business ideas as it is about helping women rebuild themselves. And it's about recognizing that your experiences, abilities, gifts, passions, your story still matters. So inside the guide, I share practical tools, mindset shifts, next steps that can help you begin creating a future that feels exciting. And so there's some books, there's some courses, there's just some amazing stuff in there to get you kind of on the way. And so the link will be in the description of this video, and I will do my best to tag it in the comments as well. So if you're looking for deeper support, accountability, and community, I also have, I walk with mums through the Master the Code Challenge, and lots of the mums have done this. So if you've done Master the Code, why don't you drop in the chat, like, I love Master the Code, or however you feel about the Master the Code Challenge. So it's a 6-week course that will clear up what you want and how to get there. It's very powerful. Let me put it nicely. It's very, very powerful. So yeah, love to support you on that journey and be like part of that with you. And I know that some of the mums here have really found that really, really powerful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. If you're in the season of change, challenge, transition, I want to encourage you with this. You're not failing because it feels hard. You're growing. The discomfort you're feeling may actually be evidence that God is doing something beautiful inside you. So you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to dream again, you're allowed to become the woman God created you to be. And I'll see you next week for another story from 40 Days of Courage. And if you would like to join us in the Zoom room after these calls, just click on the link in the description for that 5 ways to get started with your side hustle, and you'll also be joined up to my weekly emails. And so you can get the Zoom link in there. So yeah, great. Wonderful to be with you.